So you're wondering how you can get this onto a plane. Well, if you're flying somewhere in the continental US, it's very likely that you can legally fly with your firearms to wherever it is that you're intending on going. The easiest way to do this is by having a nice, neatly organized case, like the one that I have here. So whenever I fly, I make sure that all of my firearms related items are organized, especially the guns and the magazines themselves. More often than not, these items have to be inspected by TSA, which typically happens with you present, as the cases are usually padlocked. When it comes to flying with ammunition, I found that you can do two things. You can have your magazines loaded and stored, or you have to have the ammo in cases. They say the ammunition shouldn't be loose, so try to avoid that in any way that you can. Don't have it in a Ziploc bag. Try and have it in the actual cases that they come in, or like I said, loading your magazines. The process is extremely simple. So you bring your case that is neatly organized to the airport with you, and let's just say that you're flying through JetBlue. We'll use my upcoming trip to North Carolina as an example. So I booked my flight with JetBlue. At the time of purchasing my ticket, I claimed nothing. I just said that I was flying. I didn't pay for any checked bags or anything like that. Typically when I go there, I'm only there for a weekend. So this is usually the only thing that I am actually checking. I'm not checking a suitcase or anything like that. What I do is I bring this to the customer service desk that is separate from the regular luggage area typically, or baggage area where you declare what you have. I go to the customer service representative and I speak to them directly, rather than just the person, like I said, over in the regular baggage area. They ask you if you have anything to declare. Obviously, I'm declaring firearms. So they will ask you to open the case, and typically when you're going through, like at Boston, what they do is they say, they look at it right there. No TSA agent or anything like that, in my experience, has come into the area at Logan to inspect my firearms. I just show it to the airline. Here's my stuff. They say, oh wow, you got a lot of guns that you're flying with. Okay, cool. Everything looks in order. They just verify, okay, the ammunition's in its proper container, or, magazines. Usually if my magazines are loaded, they don't even pick them up to look at them. From that point, they give you a little ticket. It goes inside here, says that it was inspected. They sign it, you sign it. The case gets locked. They put it on the carousel, away it goes. When you show up, like the last time that I flew into RDU in Raleigh, I went and picked up this case from a specific area from the airline that I was flying with. I believe that time I was with American. This time, like I said, it will be with JetBlue. So I would go directly to that special baggage claim area, not the carousel. They typically don't put firearm related items on the carousel anymore, obviously just for safety reasons, because, well, if you're stupid like me, then, and you have stickers on your stuff, it's pretty obvious as to what's in here. So someone could just lift the case and away they go with a bunch of guns. So the case ends up going to a particular area where you can safely retrieve your baggage, and away you go. Now, What I suggest you do is when you're flying with firearms, you avoid any type of stop, like a long layover, right? Overnight or something like that in an anti-gun state. New York, Jersey, I would say even potentially California, anywhere where you're actually in possession of the firearms, right? So on my way back from North Carolina, I actually have a plane change in Jersey, right? This is out of my hands. I'm literally exiting one plane, going on another. My case is never even coming into contact. I'm not going to be in physical possession of it. So as far as my opinion goes, there's not an issue with that. It's as soon as I take claim of this bag or this piece of luggage, this case, that now I'm back in possession of the firearms. They're not being handled by the airline anymore. They're with me at like the hotel that I have to stay at for the night or something like that. You know, we've all had those issues with planes, right? So that's what we're trying to avoid. So just make sure that when you're booking your flight, you're looking at where the plane might change or something like that. Try to avoid those long layovers. Just make sure that obviously when you're putting your firearms away, that everything is clear, they're actually empty. I never keep magazines actually inside of the firearms, just so that if, you know, a TSA agent or somebody like that goes to inspect a gun, these people aren't always gun people, all right? They don't always necessarily understand what they're looking at. So obviously we don't want these to be loaded. So let's make sure that they're not loaded. And if you even wanted to take another further step just to make sure you could lock your slide, if it's a rifle, you can lock your bolt to the rear and store them just like that. That is literally the long and the short of flying with firearms. This is not as complicated as everybody makes it out to be. I remember how worried I was the first time that I was flying. I was so neurotic about it because I was worried about what could potentially happen, you know, to my stuff. I've flown to Arizona, I've flown to North Carolina with firearms, and I've had zero issues. This is going to be my fourth time flying with guns now. I would say that the advice that I am issuing is extremely valid, seeing as I've had no issues. I've had one instance where my case was like thoroughly looked at by TSA, and believe it or not, that was actually when I was flying out of Arizona. So if you have any questions, you are interested in having a conversation with me further about flying, then just shoot me a DM and I would be happy to try and answer any questions that you might have. Again, remember guys, making things easy for them will make things easy for you. So the more organized that your stuff is, the better off that you'll be. You don't want to be one of those people that's just like throwing their stuff into a case, right? So have a little respect for your equipment and the process will be a whole lot easier for you. Thanks guys. Be safe.